Okay, so now we're going to talk about this guy, Ryan Elsey, the prosecutor. And we're going to talk about the lie that he told to the jury, that he knew was a lie at the time that he told it to the jury. So he plays a phone call for the jury during trial of a phone call between Brian Brown and Bolanos. And he attempts to put forward the claim to the jury that Brian Brown gave Bolanos the story of stumbling across Samantha Wall outside and touching her, and that's how that microscopic speck of blood got on him. He's trying to say that Brian Brown fed that story to Bolanos. He knew that that was not true. He knew that Brian Brown did not feed that story to Bolanos. He knew that. And how did he know that? Because just hours prior to that phone call happening, the phone call that he listened to and the phone call he played for the jury, the preliminary examination had already ended at 36th District Court in front of Judge Kenneth King. And at that time, Brian Brown had already said that this occurred. And you will hear Judge King say that this occurred. Now, Judge King will add what he thinks. He'll add some extra parts to it that he believes that did not, in fact, happen. But at that point in time, because this theory was already known to people, and trial didn't happen until June, the preliminary exam happened in January, Ryan Elsey knew that the phone call that he was playing for the jury and the claim that he was trying to attempt to make, which was that Brian Brown fed the story to Bolanos, he knew that was a lie. He knew that Brian Brown did no such thing, but yet he did this. So let's get into that.
Had an iPhone, and we had very. How else does he get this blood? Just like I stated, the first witness who testified indicated that he came across Samantha. She was laying outside. He touched her. I asked him specifically whether or not he knew if he had blood on. You see, he didn't know. I asked the OIC, who indicated she's trained. She could not see the blood or any blood on the jacket when they recovered the jacket from my client. So it's very possible that even when the witness who found Samantha had blood on his clothes or whatever from touching the body, there was no evidence whatsoever that they ran his DNA, which is, I understand they didn't run his DNA, they didn't run a check on his clothes to see whether or not he actually had blood on his particular clothing from touching the body. However, I would say that based upon all the blood and the nature of this particular crime, have my client stabbed her 8 different times at numerous points in her body. She got stabbed in her back, stabbed in her head. So somebody had an opportunity when she fell down, they came over her and hit her. She got stabbed in the bottom of her neck. I would submit that all the blood you saw, you would have a lot more blood than just 2 microscopic specks under the sleeve of my client. You would have blood on the front because there was a tussle. Whoever killed her, she was tussling. She was fighting for her life. And I wish you were still here to tell the story, Runner, but I don't believe the evidence, if you look at it clear-eyed, that it does not fit into the time frame that my client could not have done that in that amount of time. There's no way that he could have done all those actions in within a matter of 60 seconds, fight with her, tussle with her, stab her 8 times, beat her up, and then make it a quarter of a mile away. Now my question is, why?
So you're going to hear Judge King now reiterate that theory of Michael Jackson Bolanos finding Samantha Wall already deceased outside. And you're going to hear him say that Michael Jackson Bolanos lied about his actions that night in regards to a car and how that is not important. And you're going to hear him reiterate this theory. So let's listen to that part.
That the defendant lied to the police officer about his actions that he does certain vehicles and so forth. I don't think that's really discreet, nor is that the big deal. The big deal here is the identification of the defendant as being perpetrator of these crimes. Although I do find it a little peculiar that the crime scene is this bloody, that such a small amount of blood will be found face was literally covered in blood. Is it possible? Because one thing we can know about the defendant is that one, he has to be in incredible shape. He certainly got his steps in that time. He walked from one end of downtown to the other end and back, all over the place. Jumping walls, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. In addition to that, it appears as though he is a thief. But it surprised me that someone had did something to this wall. She made it out of the house trying to make help for herself, collapsed outside. And just as the first witness was called, the defendant could presumably have stumbled upon her body and made the people that did it tried to steal something up when it came in contact with the body. There got some blood in some kind of way. I don't know.
So this, what I just played for you, is at the preliminary exam. And right after this preliminary exam is when that phone call between Brian Brown and Bolanos happens. And then months later at trial is when Ryan Elsey, the prosecutor, plays that phone call for the jury, attempting to sell the jury on the story that Brian Brown fed this story to Bolanos, which was not true. And Ryan Elsey knew at that time that he played that phone call and attempted to make the jury believe that was not true. So why then would Ryan Elsey put that story forward to the jury, knowing that it wasn't true? He was there at preliminary exam. He heard all of this come out at preliminary exam. He knew that this was not a story conjured up by Brian Brown, but yet he still tried to make the jury believe that. Why? Guys, think about this. This is crazy. You guys got to pay attention to all of these things. This is a whole conspiracy of people just trying to railroad this guy. They are all trying to railroad this man. And I'm laying it out for y'all. Y'all just got to pay attention to what I'm putting out there. But I'm going to show y'all in the next video exactly how we know that Brian Brown did not feed this story to Bolanos. We know that Bolanos did not lie when he was on the stand about coming across Samantha Wall outside, because we know that that was something that he had already said on the night that he was arrested. We know that. And I'm going to show you guys that part next. So just continue to stay tuned.